morning. Welcome to the upper deck for Pinstripe Chronicles. And we're from the outside looking in this week, unfortunately.
I like that music.
Welcome to everyone in the chat. And also, as you noticed, we had our first glitch. It wouldn't be the upper deck if we didn't have a glitch right away.
I didn't get to cue the music.
And so, I'm Chris. That's Lynn. Lynn, you want to introduce the guests?
It is my very high honor to welcome Envy and Jacob PM from Yankees Twitter to join us today. And we're so excited to have you here, guys. And yeah, good morning, everybody. Hey, Uncle Ted.
Good morning. Thank you.
Hey, good morning.
So good to have you. Hey, Lori. Hey, Deb. Hey, Jonathan. Hey, FJ. So happy to see our regulars here. So we just wanted to get some info out from you guys and a couple of questions. So how did Yankees Twitter come to be? How did hashtag Yankees Twitter come to be?
So I was just on Twitter one day, and I'm always reading up on new features and things like that are coming up. And I was in a beta, I believe, for like a community feature that was coming up. And I was like, okay, let me try and see what this is all about. And originally, it wasn't going to be a Yankees Twitter community. It was going to be a Marvel community.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking about like, and I just contemplated for like a day or two. I'm like, I don't know what to do. And then finally I decided, you know what? I'm already in like Yankees Twitter, I'm already in like talking to people from Yankees Twitter and things like that. So I was like, let me just do that and see where it goes. And then on March 23rd, 2022 is when I created it. And then it's just been blowing up from there.
Yep.
That's amazing.
And also
10,000 fans later, you have created an amazing community.
Yeah. It's the largest baseball community on Twitter, I believe, still.
Okay.
I know Envy has we actually have regular contact with some of the people over at Twitter that actually work for the company, well, X now, or whatever it's called, that have been asking us about what we think about features, what we think about the community in and of itself. We actually have some features that other communities don't, that we're still planning to utilize. So that's a surprise. Okay. But it's definitely been a great ride for that, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome.
Oh, and I can't forget, Ash Varro helped me decide on making Yankees Twitter instead of Marvel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be here without her.
And tell us about moderating a group like this. How hard, how interesting is that?
It's the best part of my day.
Yes, it's very fun.
Yeah.
It was a little tougher because there was a lot of interesting people joining. But I think we've weeded out most of the negativity and
Yeah, I think a big part of it is like weeding out trolls or people from other fan bases that just want to come in and cause trouble, and there's a ton of spam. I mean, we had Attack of the Porn Bots one time where it was just all these like robot accounts for like women that were not actually women that were trying to catfish people, and just like weeding out all of those accounts and everything. Right. And it's a job. I mean, it's something that we have to check and look at every day.
Yeah.
But I think we've cultivated a really nice community that people can feel safe to share their opinions in. And thanks to Envy and the rest of the moderation team, Ash and Chastity and Gary Sheffield Jr. for coming to help us out with that.
Wow.
All right. Yeah.
How about that?
It's a fun community, and I don't notice a lot of negativity or a lot of idiots, and I think it's well moderated is what I'm trying to say. And I really appreciate the community you guys are offering us.
And
so thank you.
And I love how you have cultivated this culture where you could be a very well-seasoned and knowledgeable fan. You could be, early on in getting to know baseball and God forbid the casuals are even present, right? Like I love the middle school thinking that goes on sometimes, but but everybody is in it, and there's none of that nonsense at play. So that's another element of moderating. I know for a fact, having moderated other groups, that's not easy to get especially at 10,000 plus.
Mhm.
So that's really great and special, and I love being in there because as X has evolved, it's harder and harder to find my people.
Mhm.
Whatever this algorithm is,
That's true.
and I'm getting these random, things that I don't follow or care about. At least I'm like, let me just go to my tribe.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a big plus.
Yeah, and through running Yankees Twitter, I think one of our favorite things to do is a lot of the giveaways we do, and thankfully we have a lot of community members that'll donate tickets and all this other stuff. And Attack of the Panda. But like we have
Tell
some
your
people
friends, Jacob.
yeah, but we have people that give away some of their game tickets that we'll give away in the community. But a lot of the stuff, I mean, we have partnerships with other businesses and small businesses with their merchandise, and just giving everybody, just something to continue to look back for, like, oh, maybe I can win this, maybe I can win this. And I mean, a lot of that comes straight out of our pocket. I mean, we're not paid yet from a lot of our partnerships and all that. So that's me and Envy and other moderators paying for these things for people, just because we care so much about this community. But we'll get there one day to where we will have I know that there's been some talk on X and through communities evolving that there may be some monetization coming through that, so we'll see what happens. But
certainly deserve it, and we're here to support and promote in any way we can.
Exactly.
The show and ongoing, and consider yourselves regular guest co-hosts whenever you want. And we're just so happy to be here and with you today.
And you guys have something for us today, right? A giveaway for us?
We do.
Our folks?
So we're gonna choose one random comment, one random person that's commenting. We're gonna give away a Derek Jeter bobblehead. Yep.
Yeah, and we'll give it away after the stream ends. So what we're gonna do is everybody that comments that has entered in their entry, I guess you could say, to actually win the bobblehead. And I see that my girlfriend actually joined. You can't win, babe. I'm sorry, but
yeah, and we checked. Hosts aren't eligible either.
Yeah. But so just go ahead and comment, throw whatever questions you want in there, and you may have a chance to win a limited edition Derek Jeter bobblehead. And we'll find a way to get in contact with you through email or your YouTube account or Twitter or whatever.
Mail you a letter.
Yeah, we'll mail you smoke signal, whatever. We'll figure it out.
Well, let's kick off the conversations this morning. Let's get going on the Yankee conversation.
Yep.
Lynn, I know you want to start off with some with some trivia.
Yes, I
do. On the brain.
Here we go. So, as usual, thank you, Spencer. Here we go. So MLB has already treated fans to an exciting wild card stage. Yeah, whatever. We're not there. On Tuesday, October 3rd, fans witnessed history when the Minnesota Twins won their first playoff game since Game 1 of the 2004 American League Division Series. Spencer actually wasn't at this one. What happened, Forrest Gump? You're at every historical thing. But anyway, they ended up shutting out the Yankees 2-0 in that game. Which Twins pitcher was credited with the win? So after the monologue, here's the thing. Game 1 of the 2004 American ALDS, the Twins shut out the Yankees 2-0. Which Twins pitcher was credited with the win?
2004.
At the end of the shoe.
All right. Everybody start giving that some thought. And let's jump in.
And while it's on the screen, read it and weep, guys. So like Chris is segueing us into, here's the end results of the team this year.
This makes me so sad.
Yeah, I mean, this is a horror movie in and of itself. I'm glad Halloween's coming up. It's awful.
Exactly. I mean, and this 227 team average,
It's insane.
You know, and like we talked about last week, it is not a celebration that we broke 500 for the 31st time.
Not at all. Not even a little bit.
Not a celebration. This is a funeral right here.
Yeah.
This is something to mourn and weep about. So,
oh, absolutely.
yeah. So
I
just
mean,
kick it off with that.
despite appearances' sake, the kids came up in August, and you know, the rookies, and it appeared that the team surged for you know, till the end of the season. Yeah, but if you look at the numbers, not a lot changed.
Nope.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you know, as fans, we were begging for the kids to be brought up. And I think that there was a misconception that, you know, I mean, the team did surge for a little bit, but I mean, we still continued to have the injuries. I mean, we just kept on getting kicked while we were down. I mean, we finally had something to cheer for with Jason Dominguez and Martian, and then, you know, this UCL goes, and it's like this season we just couldn't catch a break. And I mean, we had Conley go down, Loazaga. It seemed like every week there seemed to be a new injury, and you just can't recoup from that.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we got a tweet from Samantha on X, and she asked, do you think if Judge played the entire season, the Yankees would have made the playoffs?
Probably not. I don't know. We probably would have won a few more games, but overall as a team, I don't think they had enough.
Yeah, I mean, we had. I would have to agree with that. I mean, I think we would have been in the running a lot more. I think the end of the season would have been a lot more exciting, and the season overall would have been a lot more exciting. I mean, Judge is, you know, the best player, but we had the same club as last season for the most part because of inactiveness from Cashman to bring in additional bats, right? So. It was just the same story that we continued to have with the ALCS last year. And I think that's where a lot of fans are really frustrated.
Right. It seems to me that maybe we would have at least made the wild card if Judge had not gotten injured. I don't know. Really, it was a combination of Judge and Rizzo getting injured.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I feel like Rizzo going down was also, I mean, he was hot before that. The injury.
Yeah. He was having a career year.
He was having a career year.
Yep.
So, it was a combination, like you had mentioned, of injuries that really kept kicking us this season. But it seems like if we're going to talk about the rookies at all, we got to figure out what we're going to do with them.
Yeah.
It's one thing to bring them up, and it's another thing to work them into the plans for the Yankee future. What are your thoughts on that, chat? And what are your thoughts, guys?
Do you want to go first, Andy?
I'm looking at the chat real quick. Lori, we wouldn't have lost 9 in a row without Judge. That's probably true.
That's
probably. I mean, from a rookie standpoint, I've always been really high on Austin Wells. I mean, even through development, I think we have a place for him. Unfortunately, even though I think that'll be at the detriment of Higgy not being on the team anymore, it's probably the right move to make.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen a lot of takes saying, hey, I mean, we don't need Trevino on the team. And I'm like, well, you know, he is a platinum glove catcher.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and if we had the 1-2 punch of an offensive catcher who's decent enough defensively, and then a top tier defensive catcher who can do some things offensively, then I think that's a good spot to be in if we do run a platoon. I see Trevino probably getting more reps in at the beginning of the season from like maybe 70-30, 60-40. But as the season evolves, I can see the scale tipping to Austin Wells.
I think we're looking at a Girardi kind of scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll, you know, kind of evolve the same way. And unfortunately for Rorvet, he's probably going to be on the Uber squad.
Right.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Right. Wells was impressive, though. He certainly closed out the season in a dramatic fashion. He had power. The pitchers loved pitching to him, even though he wasn't touted as a good defensive guy.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. Wells is someone to keep in mind.
Yeah, I definitely want to see more of Wells. We've seen Higgy for the last few years, and I love Higgy, but he
Yeah.
can't just keep bringing the same things every single year.
Yeah,
No.
he's been on the Yankees since 2008.
Oh
So that's when I believe that's whenever he was drafted, and
Yeah.
so he's the longest running Yankee that we have now. And I think he's been instrumental in the growth of a lot of our younger players.
Yeah.
And he still has a semi decent bat. I mean, he's got some pop, but whenever the tires meet the pavement, there's going to be some cuts, and I feel like he may be, and I mean, unless he explodes at some point, if he's still on the team in spring training, I just don't see where there's space for him.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And what are you guys thinking about Peraza? I know third base is going to be somewhere a position that needs filled in the spring. Mm-hmm. Is Peraza that guy?
I hope he is.
Yeah, I sure as hell hope so. I mean, I think he's a fantastic defender. I mean, he has the arm for third base. He has a better arm for shortstop, of course. But I mean, he is a fantastic defender, and I think it all comes down to reps. I mean, how many reps can we get our rookies? We got to see a little bit of his reps in 2022, and a little bit more in 23. And he's seen. I mean, we can't expect people to be home runs as soon as they hit the field, but it'll be interesting to see what the Yankees do with him long term.
Yeah, I think he needs more reps. He hasn't played too much. Every season he's played 173 at bats last season. Mm-hmm. He didn't do too great, but we can't expect him to be amazing off the bat.
No.
The problem with Peraza at third, though, I see, Joe, your comment as well, is what happens when Rizzo's back? What happens to DJ then? We find ourselves again with this embarrassment of riches in the infield, which is also why I called up this tweet from Fireside Yankees on the screen about Gleyber, because that's been going on about too. So what happens? Yeah. What happens to Gleyber in the mix here? Because we know that second base hasn't been looking all that much better than shortstop did last season. So, what's going to happen there? Where do we land with that infield on opening day?
I'm extremely biased, but I love Gleyber Torres. I want to see him be forever.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little less biased, but I did a deep dive analysis on Gleyber a couple of weeks ago on like what some of his issues could be. I think his bat is supremely valuable. It was the second most valuable this season behind Judge, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I think it's an idea of focus, and I think what the Yankees need to be worrying about is if they can get Gleyber to commit to putting in the repetitions, the defensive work he needs to do to be an everyday second baseman. I can forgive having a few more errors at second base if we have a valuable bat, because our bats are so anemic right now. But I think that's what the Yankees need to be thinking about. Can we get Gleyber? Can we get Gleyber to commit and be motivated to improve his defense?
I agree with you, but once he's on base, he needs to up his IQ.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, his base running. Yeah.
Errors.
Problem.
He gets me so mad. There's days where he's doing so good and then he makes an error. I'm like, wow, he just ruined it. Like,
yeah,
so mad.
Yeah, it gets in his own way. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm stupid.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to make a dumb comment. I mean, I was stupid on the base pass too growing up, but I'm also not a professional baseball player. But I mean,
$23 million for over 4 years.
Junior. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was known to trip and fall and take a roll every now and then. But I think Gleyber Torres should be held to a little bit of a higher standard than me. So.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I think Gleyber's an interesting study because I took a look at his numbers too, and he's fourth in putouts, which is a good number, right?
Yep.
But then he was first in errors, which is a bad number.
Balance.
Gleyber's Gleyber. He's -3 DRS. .3 OAA and a minus 2.2 UZR. His defense is below average, but I was arguing with someone in a chat on Facebook this week, and they said that they were more than willing to live with Gleyber's defensive miscues as long as he continues to hit like he does. And I don't know if it's exactly that, but I would hate to see Gleyber get traded, but he is a value. He's one of few valuable trade chips. But really, with the free agency coming up, is there a need to trade Gleyber? Not really. I mean, I think everything can be accomplished through internally or by going out in the free agent. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think we need to trade Gleyber. He was like one of our best bats last year. Why would we trade him? Especially since the bats were so horrible.
Especially, yeah, because we're looking for offense. And here's the thing: I think that Gleyber does have the ability to be average, or at least slightly above average to average defensively. I mean, whenever I did my analysis, I forget the numbers, but I mean, he was positive on DRS, he was positive on OAA. He had a really good defensive season. I believe it was 21. I'd have to look back at my analysis, but I mean, he has the ability. Is whenever he actually made the change from shortstop over to second base, and he has the ability to do it. That's the tough part, because if he was always a bad defender, then we could say, oh well, he's just a bad defender. But we've seen him actually make some great plays and be valuable at that position. So like, what can we do to tip the scale to where he's doing that more often?
When he's good, he's very, very good, and when he's bad, he's awful. And Joe's saying if he could get a great number 2 starter, that he would trade Torres. And
so
we know Rodon is not it. Unless he comes back after some hocus pocus by some coven of witches, you know, I don't think anybody. I'm speaking for the universe. You know, does anyone have full confidence in Rodon? And so, you know, the rotation does continue to be a question here. As well. But no, I get it about Gleyber. He's a fan favorite. I'm 90% with you guys, Envy and Jacob, on wanting to keep him. I'm just concerned about a couple of things, and I'm not going to put myself in Cashman's head because that would be scary. But I would say his trade value is diminished. It's depreciating, like when you drive your car off the lot, right? He's getting up there in age, you know, to that point where, you know, and who would we be giving up in a package that and get him off for, you know, the rest, get him off at a good price. But I think he's going to stay. I don't think Cashman. I don't see Cashman making any moves.
I agree, Lori.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think so either.
No, Lori said he is cute. Keep him.
Yeah. Well, there's always that perspective.
Yeah.
Guys, if you had a crystal ball, if you guys had a crystal ball and were able to look into the Yankee future, what would you see for, say, the outstanding positions that we need to fill? What are your thoughts on center field, left field?
I think Dominguez he's gonna be a big part of that field. Yeah. My dream would be Juan Soto.
Oh yeah,
but that's like my freaking dream. Especially since I want a Dominican superstar on our team. I want it so bad. That's like where I'm from, so I just want one so bad. It's not happening.
For sure. I don't know. I mean, for me, I did make a couple of notes. I mean, there are some free agents that we can go after. I mean, Cody Bellinger's coming off a resurgence of his career. I was actually going to make a tweet out later asking people how much they think a signing of Cody Bellinger could move the needle. Then you have Jung-Hoo Lee that's coming off of an ankle injury now, but he had a 863 OPS season that we could grab, you know, internationally. I mean, and then for pitching, we could bring Monty back. I mean, we could bring Monty back. We could bring back Yamamoto. So I mean, there's going to be some
moves that could be made.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, with Monty, that's if he would even come back, So, because right after he was traded, the Yankees let loose that hey, they didn't think that he was going to be part of the playoff picture, and
Yeah.
hey, and then he said, well, hey, they wanted me to continue to throw my slider more, and I didn't want to throw my slider more. I wanted to throw my fastball, and that's what he's doing at the Rangers, and he's kicking ass. So,
Absolutely.
yep.
Yep.
Yeah, and so it's that thing that is happening with the Yankees too, where players aren't being trusted with their gut. Particularly we have some recent examples of that with the pitching, right?
Mhm.
I didn't like the look of it. I think the optics were bad when Rodon would not listen to Blake when he came to the mound, just turned his back on his coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand it in a human way.
Yep.
Because it's like, look, I'm here for a reason. Let me do my job. I'm in the zone.
Mhm.
But I was also thinking optics like, man, you get paid to be a professional ball player. You don't turn your back on your coach.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yes him, you yes him, and then you throw
Yeah.
the blurb if that's what you wanted to do instead or whatever.
yeah. And I think that dives a little bit deeper into what's going on with Rodon, because I mean, if you look at his velocity, it's the same as last year. If you look at his drop, it's the same as last year. I mean, his ball movement and rotations are all where they need to be. So I don't think it's an injury. I don't think it's anything underlying with him physically. I think this is all
mental.
mental.
I agree.
It's his focus. I mean, you look. I mean, he's kissing at fans with the Angels. He's getting in arguments and not wanting to come off the mound. The quote he had from off the season was, "Well, I'm going to go back home. I'm not bringing my family. I'm just going to sit and be with my thoughts," which can be therapeutic, but that's not a show of someone who is in the right state of mind, to perform at the highest level. So if we can focus on his focus, and whatever the Yankees need to do, therapy, whatever, to help him, because I think he has the ability to be a great starter, but
we've seen it before. Not on the Yankees, but we've seen it.
His mind is what's in his way.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's that New York thing, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's that thing. Look how other players have been in the markets they were traded to. So New York gets in the head, and you have to have that certain makeup and mentality to withstand it and perform. But I in all fairness, we haven't seen Rodon in full picture yet. I just hope he comes back, healthy and ready, spring training, and we see what we need to see.
I agree with Joe. He said I give Rodon 1 full year yet to fully judge him. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm still judging him. He did horrible, but
Yeah.
I want to see what he does next year.
He was Kiyagawa. I mean, we don't need another one of those. But
We don't.
But it's going to be. I think he does, with the contract in itself, just deserves a little bit more time to see what he's going to be, and then we may be having a different conversation here in 6 to 7 months or more.
Absolutely. And whatever the future brings for the Yankees, in my opinion, the scary part is not knowing whether any moves of significance will get made this offseason. I mean, we've seen the return of Cashman and Boone. Already there's been backsliding by the front office, it seems like, about an audit that we thought might take place that might maybe clear the air and make for some new ideas going through the Yankees organization. So if nothing else, they need to get more athletic in the coming season. They need to stick with the younger players.
Yep.
As someone in the chat pointed out, I think it was Elliot, we don't even know if Rizzo will be healthy to return. So there's, question marks all over the place. But I think that all the way around, the Yankees have a lot of work to do in the offseason, and we're going to be here for it.
We are.
Yeah.
Hopefully, the moves this time around.
Yeah, I hope so. And with that audit, I I come from an analytics background professionally.
Yeah.
So I whenever that came up, I was thinking, okay, like what are they going to do? And if you think back to 2017, the Astros did an audit on their entire organization and their analytical department through a little company called McKinsey. I think it's McKinsey and Company, and
Oh.
and they were actually detailing what their scouting and their development looked like,
Yeah.
and how to focus on the right statistics. Because whenever analytics first came into baseball, or whenever companies in general started tracking analytics, it was about, hey, how can we get more data, more data, more data? But now there's such an influx of data. It's about how do we filter through the data and pick out what matters. And I
Right.
think that might be what Hal was talking about with doing an audit, to make sure to bring in someone else that doesn't have the blinders on, to make sure we're utilizing the right data. But as you know, the normal fan, as a layman, you're just sitting there like, what are you talking about? So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. But I did see someone point out, I think it was Elliot, he said, I wish that audit never got reported. I wish it didn't either. So
And
Yeah.
by the way, I think it was Yankee Slut who got a clarification on that whole audit business, because apparently, and it might have been Heyman who misreported, go figure,
mhm.
it was not ever going to be somebody coming in to take a look
It's
at
all
them. They
being
were going to
internal
go
audit now.
through some other company.
Yeah, they
Right.
made it seem like it was another company coming in that had nothing to do with the Yankees and all that stuff, and now it's just the Yankees doing an audit on the Yankees.
Exactly.
Watch them come out and be like, everything's great. I don't know what's going on. No one wants to lose their job, right? So
Exactly. I mean, I'm going to
Yeah.
have to just suspend my disbelief in this organization while this is happening, and assume that things are going to be bright and better in 24. That's how I'm approaching it. That's what I'm thinking about the off season. I can't
One-
imagine they're going to do nothing like they did at the
It's
deadline.
impossible. There's no way. I hope.
That's right. And you. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Envy.
No, I said I hope, right? That they don't do anything, that they do something.
Yeah.
They got to balance out the equation. It's just, you wonder, everyone's wondering about the underperformance of the bats. I'm wondering, how come? Maybe it's because they're being driven by numbers and told to stand a certain way,
Yeah.
put your leg a certain position, etc. And it's not about their gut. The very thing that they're recruited for and signed for is being killed by this numbers game.
Yeah.
And so, we need a little bit of that Joe Girardi punch back in the bench,
Mhm.
that is trusting their guys a little bit to make some decisions at the plate.
Yeah.
And stop with the iPads already. Get your head literally in the game. Unless you're playing, Rummy Rush or something in between innings, get your head in the game. I know there's a place for it, and I see your face, Jacob. I know there's a place for it. You want to play it, but isn't that more for the locker room? So that you can reflect and really take the whole game in that way. But I'm not a manager. I just play one on YouTube once a week.
Oh yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think the best team is someone who can combine both the strength of the numbers and then then actual just game knowledge and using your gut. And sometimes I think that we are too heavy on the analytics, so that's why it's all the more important that we're pulling out the right things to focus on, so that combined with the actual game knowledge, our know-how, baseball in itself, the game is propelled in the right way. So
that's true. You got to combine the both, because sometimes analytics say, hey, don't play this player at this position or against this pitcher, but if that player is hot, you play that player because he's doing amazing.
Yep, I agree.
And they do that so much sometimes. Like there's a player that hits 2 home runs in 2 games, and then they sit him the next day. Analytics say he has to be sitting.
God, that drives me crazy.
I would be pissed as a player.
Makes no sense.
I mean, Judge has addressed these things in the press. He said maybe we're not using the numbers right. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but I think that the players themselves are questioning how much the analytics are affecting what they do and whether it's affecting them positively or negatively. But did you guys see this week that I thought this was funny. They made suggestion apparently that Boone needed to be harder on the players. And somebody, I don't know who, made the comment, "Oh, you mean more like Girardi?" And I thought that was so great.
Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah. I feel like that's everybody's biggest complaint with Boone is he just a friends with the players, or is he?
Everything too.
Yeah. And I agree. I mean, I think that there is definitely some more opportunities, but I don't think it needs to be portrayed to the media. I hope if he does get harder with the players, that we don't hear anything about it.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yep. We don't need to know about the drama, and bosses close their door for a reason. It's none of our business.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we think everything is. I agree with that. But a little fire under the butts never hurt anybody.
Oh no,
Yeah,
definitely,
sure.
I agree.
Yeah, and was anybody else? What was your reaction to Judge being so vocal about there need to be big changes and conversations had during the postseason?
That's great. I mean, that's our leader. That's our captain. I'm glad he's saying things that the fans are also feeling.
Yeah.
It just makes it much better to see players actually doing and saying things that we're thinking.
Yeah, it was good to see.
Yeah, because I mean, you don't want Judge. He's so much like Jeter when Jeter was captain, and that is that they never make a misstep. You don't see Judge making a misstep in the press. And when he speaks, it should be something substantial. He should be addressing things that are of concern across the organization. So I was really happy that he said the things he said. And that, it didn't seem to be negative or perceived negatively.
No, it was just the truth.
It was the truth.
Yeah.
That tasted good. Give me more, sir.
Yeah.
And like NFE saying, about damn time.
Yeah.
We don't know what was at play there. But yeah, I want to see more of that, because now he's put himself on the line. Now the press is going to be following up and saying, okay, so what happened with those conversations that you said had happened?
Yep.
And he's going to have something to say. So it's going to be very interesting, because we don't forget, and the press doesn't forget.
Yeah. And the hardest part is, now that we know all this and things that should be happening, things are going to go silent for a month, few weeks,
know.
whatever. And we're just not, and everyone's just like, oh, they're not going to do it, or oh, they're probably already doing it. And then what I'm thinking is going to happen, it'll be, probably a month or a month and a half down the line, maybe 2 months, closer to as the new season is getting ready. Then we'll start seeing the moves, and then everybody will be high again. Everybody we're ready for the new season. Things are happening. Things are changing. And then if they're the right changes, maybe we'll be on the right track again, but we have a lot of work to do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And of course he wants a ring. He deserves a ring. We all want a ring, Karen Delaney.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Bring on the rings.
Everyone's so excited for Jigga Who's Jigga
He's a friend of ours that joins the chat. He must have said something up above that we all missed.
Nice.
Lynn, do you want to give us the answer to the trivia question?
Sure. And let me refresh memories.
Okay.
I'm going to throw it up again. I'm not going to throw up, but I'm going to throw the question up again. Got to stop saying that. Okay. So just a reminder, game 1 of the 2004 ALDS, the Twins won by shutting out the Yankees 2-0. Who was the pitcher on the Twins that did it? And it was Johan Santana.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Good
Yeah.
NFE.
Legend.
Yep, and I know someone above got it right. I'm sorry, I don't remember who. Give yourself the credit here in the chat, because I know somebody got it very early on.
I see that NFB answered it correctly.
NFE. Okay, good.
I don't know who else.
Look at the big brain on NFE.
Good job.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So, Jacob and Envy, any last remarks on the season that was and the season to be? What do you?
It was a roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah.
Season. We had some good highs with Jason Dominguez coming in and doing what he was doing, and then super big lows with everyone getting injured and how bad we were doing. But it was mostly an embarrassment of a season. I think it was terrible.
Yeah. I concur. It was hard to be a Yankee fan this year. I think is the best way to throw it out. I mean, a lot of people think Yankee fans are bandwagon fans, and I think this may have weeded that out a little bit because this was a really tough year. And for me, I'm always guardedly optimistic for the future. That's just my nature. But I hope that the right moves are made because it's so much more fun to watch baseball and to follow baseball if the Yankees are doing well. So,
yeah, that's true.
Yep, you got a shout out from Lori. Good job, Yankee Twitter dudes.
oh, thanks, Lori.
Yankee Twitter dudes.
Good job, and thanks for being you.
Well, we're ready to wrap up the show. I don't know if you guys want to make an announcement. How did you want to handle your bobblehead?
So we're going to go through the comments.
Okay. You tell us later.
We'll go through all the comments, see who commented, and we'll just pick one random person to win a bobblehead. Derek Jeter bobblehead.
Okay.
Yep, and we will reach out to them. If all these people have YouTube accounts, I also have one, so I will find you if I can't find you anywhere else.
If you need help, just let us know.
Definitely, yeah, we'll definitely reach out, and we may we'll find some fun way to give it out.
We'll find you.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Lynn, final thoughts?
Thank you.
Yeah, it was great. It was great being here.
Really fun.
Yeah, it was great time. Thanks for having us. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I consider this the first of more times. It was so great to have you with us, and to all of you in the chat and all of you watching later, remember you'll always have a reserved seat right here on the upper deck with me and Chris. And let's get to planning and reorgan, guys.
Yeah, let's go Yankees.
Go Yankees. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.